はい、皆さんこんにちは。私がテンプル大学、米国のテンプル大学のジャパンキャンパス、ウィルソン学長です。Hello everyone, and welcome to this program today. My name is Matt Wilson, and I am President and Dean of the Japan campus of Temple University. And we're broadcasting today from Kyoto with one of our star students, Soren Dixon. Soren, you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, should I do that? Soren to moshimasu. Right, I'm back. I'm Soren Dixon. I'm a senior at TUJ studying international affairs, and I'm currently serving as the undergraduate fellow of Temple University, Kyoto.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. And we're so excited today. Temple University, for those of you that don't know, is a highly ranked, really large university located in the state of Pennsylvania, the city of Philadelphia, the birthplace of the United States. There's 30,000 students in Philadelphia, and in 1982, Temple came to Japan to establish its Japan campus, which we call TUJ. And here in Japan, TUJ has a campus in Tokyo, and in January just expanded with a campus here in Kyoto, just down the street from the Fushimi Inari Taisha. And so we're really excited to be here, to be introducing TUJ to the Kyoto community. We have about 3,000 students from 80 different countries, undergraduate degrees, graduate degrees, and the like. And so we're so excited today because at TUJ, it is our mantra to put students first. And so wanted to, kind of kick things off asking you, Soren, about, why did you choose TUJ and what type of students actually study at TUJ in Tokyo and TUJ in Kyoto?
Yeah, that's a great question, and the answers are connected, right? I think that TUJ has a unique atmosphere. It has a unique appeal in being an American university in Tokyo, in Japan, where you get this access to an international education, American education, but really Tokyo in Japan is your campus. And I think that that's a huge draw point. The other thing that really connects with this is that the students at Tokyo, and myself included, kind of come from different backgrounds. If I had to describe it in one word, I would say curious, right? It's not only curious about their surroundings, they're curious about learning. If you come to Japan, you obviously have a different mindset of, I'm going to go out and venture out, I'm going to learn something. But they're also curious in being a little bit different. I think in a really good way, but willing to go outside of their comfort zone, get outside their box, and really approach the world from a different angle, and approach Asia in that way as well.
Well, great. Well, and it's really exciting. I mean, what caused you to choose TUJ? How did you find out about TUJ? You're from the United States, but yet here you are as a senior in your final year of studying. How did you get here?
I'm not quite sure how I got here in the first place. It just kind of happened.
That's a problem.
But I mean, I graduated high school. I was homeschooled my entire life, but I graduated at 18 and decided, okay, I want to study abroad. I want to go to Japan. So I enrolled in classes, Japanese language classes from Harvard, and moved to Philadelphia. My older sister was going to Temple main campus for violin performance. And I was sitting in Philadelphia, and I'm like, oh, Temple has a campus in Japan. I'm going to go there. Didn't apply to any other schools, just said, I'm going to go to TUJ, I'm going to go live in Japan at 19, and I'll figure the rest out. I was here a year later, and have been hooked ever since.
Wow. So really no unique interest in Japan, just something a little more international.
Yeah, I mean, Japan is, a unique country. And I saw it, and I'm like, I don't really understand Japan. I don't like that. I want to go there to understand it. In order to understand a country, you have to be there, right? And so I had very little experience with Japan other than just history. But that interested me, and I decided, let's go understand this country. It has an important role in East Asia moving forward. I'll learn something, and worst case scenario, I can just figure something else out.
Great. So what's your major at TUJ?
Yeah, so I'm studying international affairs, right? International affairs in Japanese, which when you say, I study international affairs in Japanese in Japan, everyone just kind of nods like, yeah, that makes sense, right? It's kind of the perfect place to do this. Not only just because I'm international, but Japan is at the forefront of East Asia, right, in terms of foreign policy and everything else.
So at Temple University, there are like 187 different majors and degrees. Students that want to study at our Japan campus, they can do their entire degree in Japan in English without going to Philadelphia. Or if they want to do part of it here, part of it in Tokyo, part of it at our campus in Rome. You can go ahead and do that as well. But international affairs is one of 12 majors that we have. And so I think some of the listeners might be curious, what do you study? What is international affairs?
Yeah, that's a good question. International affairs is, in a depressing way, all the problems of the world. But in a positive way, how do we view that, right? How do we understand that? How do we make a difference on that? And so we take a multi-layered approach, right? Whether it's political science, Asian studies, economics, language. We really try and get a cohesive understanding of how the world works, what are these trends, and how do we understand the world around us. A huge part of that is understanding people, right? Understanding how people work, how they operate, and how you can make connections across those borders.
Well, in today's world, there's no problems, right?
Yeah.
But, with so many problems around us, I mean, I can't think of a better thing really to be studying, right? As you look at the interrelationships between countries, today, as you look around the world, we have war, we have conflict, we have countries that aren't getting along, and so I truly think that there's a lot of merit to studying international affairs, and it's so broad in terms of where it is. So what do you plan on doing with your international affairs degree from Temple University?
Yeah, I think, I have a strong interest in kind of advancing that, whether it be in a graduate degree or in policy studies, right? But really, I want to take it into diplomacy. I want to be, at the forefront of this relationship in East Asia, of these human connections, and really understanding how we can solve these multi-layered, complex situations in a way that is a win-win for everyone, right? That really, what I've learned so much at Temple is the value of human connections, that you can connect with people across borders, that going to different places and seeing different viewpoints not only helps you understand about that country, it helps you understand your own country much better, right? That I think international affairs is so helpful because you have this approach of there are all these problems and they don't have easy solutions, but you know how to work with people to solve them. And that's the role of diplomacy, and that's where I want to be.
Well, that's great. It sounds like a wonderful thing, and as you go down that path, we look forward to seeing what you're going to do. One of the words that you've brought up a couple times, maybe several times actually, is unique. And so when you think about Temple University, an American university here in Japan, where you're learning in English, people are coming in from around the world, it truly is a unique environment. But when you think about your unique experience getting an undergraduate degree from Temple University here in Japan, what stands out? What are some of those things that are just truly unique and distinctive?
Well, I think that, something so different about Temple is how much of a community is, right? I've talked to, whether it be other students from other universities, that they don't really feel like they get to know their professors, or they don't feel like they know people outside their major. And at Temple, it's so easy to approach professors. It's so easy to talk to staff, to just walk into the dean's office, for instance, or play baseball with him. That you get this communal sense. You get to learn from these mentors, and you get accepted into a community that, because it comes from so many different countries, because it comes from so many different backgrounds, really there's a lack of prejudice there. You're accepted for who you are. The fact that you're different but still get to be part of the group that's, I think, what's most unique. That's really, most universities want to celebrate diversity. They want to have that diversity. Temple can't help it. It happens naturally. And it really goes to show really the value of that and how important it is moving forward.
Great. Well, I just have to pause there for a second, just for our listeners, because Soren had mentioned playing baseball with the dean. And so just to give you an idea of how different things are and how unique they are. So it happened to be Soren's first day on campus. And we were having a big event to welcome the students at dinner. And I remember it was very crowded. Everybody was excited. You had people coming from overseas. We had our Japanese students. And I'm standing around talking. And so Soren happens to be very tall. Our listeners can't see that necessarily on the radio. But so he was towering over the other students. And I could see him kind of making his way to me. And the first question that he asked me is, do you like baseball? And put a big smile on my face. I said, not only do I like baseball, but I said, do you play baseball, Soren? And he's like, I do. And so I literally had an interview because I play on a team in Tokyo called the Tokyo Eagles. It's been around for about 40 years, and it consists of a bunch of different foreigners that have come together and play against Japanese teams. So Soren, I don't think, knew what hit him, but by the end of the conversation, he had an invitation to play with the dean on the Tokyo Eagles. And so we've been playing together now for a couple of years, having a great time. And so most recently, Soren's been my catcher as I pitch as well. So, it's not every day that you're playing baseball with the university president, but that's part of the uniqueness, right? Is at Temple, the motto is students first. And as you mentioned, the professors put the students first, very accessible, very, interactive, dynamic. And that starts even at the top, right, in terms of those type of things. So really, really exciting in terms of where that is. Now, TUJ has opened this campus here in Kyoto. So why study in Tokyo or Kyoto? I mean, you study time in Tokyo. Why Kyoto now?
Yeah. I mean, so I had served in Tokyo in a variety of roles, primarily as the student president of Temple University. And when my term came to an end, there was kind of a conversation about would I continue or would I be going to study abroad to pursue kind of more international affairs. And, through conversations, it came up that maybe we could do something where I could continue that service that I really loved at TUJ in Kyoto, at the forefront of, our expanding education. And, back and forth, I was taught international negotiations by someone very good at it and used that. And, I ended up with, I think Kyoto would be a really good place. It just felt like it was the right thing to do. Not only because, it's the oldest city, right, has so much history. That was the initial point for me was Japan's history, that understanding that more, but also to see Japan from a different lens, right? Tokyo is what we think of when we think of Japan, but really it's multifaceted. There's different people from different areas, and understanding that locality seemed very important to me.
Great. So going back to this unique theme, what have been some of the unique experiences that you have had studying at the Kyoto campus of TUJ?
Well, I think that, you get to meet some very interesting people, whether it was at, our opening ceremony where you got to meet diplomats and governors, whether you get to take classes from former politicians, or whether you get to walk around Kyoto and experience an incredibly old history, just right around your corner, right? I think that the most interesting thing about Kyoto is not going to the spots that everyone knows, but it's just kind of getting lost and realizing you're walking through history.
Mm-hmm. No, that's incredible. And it's interesting for our listeners as well. On March 23rd, on Sunday, we actually have an open community day and an open campus day. So our campus in Fushimi, right by Fujinomori Station on the Keihan line, will be open to the community. Opens from 12 to 5. We invite you to come. If you're interested in learning more about the university and how to become a student at Temple University, see our website, www.tuj.ac.jp, /UG/Kyoto, and you can find out more. But from 1 o'clock, we'll be having prospective students. You can meet students like Soren, you can hear about the experiences, and you can plug into exactly what it is. But I'm curious, you mentioned a couple of different courses. What has your favorite course been at TUJ over the course of your history? And no pressure, simply because Soren took my class, so it can be another class, no problem.
Well, I'll put it this way. My favorite 13-week course was, in Tokyo, was political fiction taught by James Brown. And that was so much fun because you got to kind of merge two things of reading books, which I'm a homeschooled nerd, I do love reading books, and talking about politics, right? And so we read 3 books over the semester and got to talk about what these books meant, how we could apply them, and really got to know each other so well, right? You were talking about these deep topics that you get to know these people really well that even, months later I would see them and you have to wave or talk, exchange conversation. That's for Tokyo, and I'm going to throw in the Kyoto element, because Kyoto, certainly the most interesting course I've taken in my undergraduate, is a course I'm taking now, Japan's National and Economic Security, taught by a former practitioner of this, right, Sato Yukari. that you really get to see a deep dive into how policy is kind of made, how these are implemented, and the environment in which Japan operates, that you don't get that at other universities. You don't get that in America. So really you're at the forefront of Japan's foreign policy and understanding that at TUJ.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and I'm super jealous, the fact that we have Sato Sensei, who was in the Japanese diet for so many years on our campus. I wish that I was taking that class.
Yeah, you should be jealous.
And it's just phenomenal. I mean, part of what we do at Temple is bring the experts into the classroom, right? The folks that are cutting edge. We try and do hands-on practical courses. One of the things that Soren alluded to was the international negotiations class, right? We do a cross-border negotiation strategy class taught by an international lawyer and practitioner, which happens to be me. And as Soren alluded to in terms of the timing, it literally was, condensed 2 weeks, hands-on practical, just diving into the ins and the outs. And for me, it's an incredible opportunity. For the students, it's fun to see them grow, right? And that's really part of it. So in the classroom, we have the hands-on practical, we have the expertise, we have everything that's going on along those lines. But at the same time, we also want to make sure that our students are equipped to go out into the workforce and to be able to engage, to take what they're learning at TUJ and apply that in the real world. And we do that through our special internship program. If you look at Japanese universities, an internship is go and visit a company for a day or two. But at Temple, we've got a full semester long internship program where you're at an employer for, at least 10 hours a week, for that 13 or 14 hours. And so we have actually won national awards. My Navi, Japanese company, awarded us the best internship program in Japan. I know you have done that. Talk to me about your internship.
Yeah. So, I did an internship at the American Chamber of Commerce in Japan. I got to work with a fantastic staff, really see kind of how American businesses are operating in Japan, understand their interests, get to meet with these business leaders that, otherwise a student wouldn't have access to, and really learn not only about business, which is an important policy point to understand, especially as I'm studying international affairs. It's maybe not what I focus on. To really get that multi-varied experience, and then learn about professionalism, right? Learn about how it actually means to work, wearing the suit every day, showing up on time, right? Those just small things that you learn about. Oh, this is how you actually enter the workforce. This is it applied. This is what excellence looks like. That was a huge experience for me.
And you're wearing that suit well, together with your temple tie.
Yeah,
So
got to represent.
I was going to say, for those of you that aren't watching on YouTube, you need to check it out, because Soren does look the part. And, those internships really are incredible, because oftentimes they open doors to new networks. It may be the pathway to actually landing a job. And so it's great that you've been able to do that as well. Now, as we talk about things outside of the classroom, one of the unique things about TUJ Kyoto in particular is we have reserved Fridays as a no-class day. So you can go and you can engage in an internship. We have extracurricular activities that are outside that are designed to really give our students a boost in their knowledge and their understanding. So talk to me a little bit about the special Fridays that we have in Kyoto, and maybe some of the activities or engagement that you have done during your time here in Kyoto. And I know we do that on Saturday in Tokyo as well, but explain that to me a little bit.
So I think first of all, it's incredibly popular among students, right? That you get kind of 3 days to really recharge. You go into classes, students are engaged, right? It really helps you kind of relax and then explore, right? It takes the pressure off having to do everything by yourself. You get to explore with your classmates. We went to Miyama last month, got to walk around in the snow. It was almost like a blizzard. We were worried if we were going to get back. But it was this winter wonderland. We got to learn about really old Japanese history with thatched roofs. We got to do homestays, experience what it was actually like to live there. And then, whether it's doing hikes or whether it's doing flower arrangements, or next week we're even going to Nagasaki, right? That these sorts of events really help you apply what you're learning in the classroom, outside the classroom, and get this experiential learning, which you can only get not only in just Japan, but only in Kansai, right? Really seeing this historic area with these deep roots and deep culture.
Well, and it's incredible. We had I think, Ikebana on our campus, right? The flower arranging, I think you were part of that, if I checked out the social media right. We had a group of students that went to one of the most famous kimono makers in Japan. In fact, I think this kimono maker here in Kyoto supplies the imperial family with their kimonos, and NHK actually ended up doing a 3-minute feature on our students. And so, as we talk about those type of things, you mentioned Nagasaki next week and the student trip where we have students from Tokyo, students from Kyoto. The dean and his wife happen to be chaperoning that. But talk to me a little bit about that. I mean, in terms of Nagasaki, why and what?
Yeah, I think that, TUJ is emerging with relationships with Nagasaki, but also it's important to understand, a different perspective on Japan. Nagasaki has a unique history, especially even it just being Kyushu. You get a different perspective on mainlanders, maybe, on, but also wanting to expand this international education. There's excitement there. There's excitement from our students to go and see a different part of Japan, really the southernmost part of Japan, on the 4 islands. That, I think there's this real opportunity to understand different parts of each other, whether it be the international community for Nagasaki or for TUJ to understand another facet of Japan, right? Adding these sorts of layers to our study of Japan, not just Tokyo, not even just Kansai, really getting this multi-layered approach, getting to experience Jaodori or Nagasaki's, unique opportunities or food or cuisine, right? One of my best friends is from Nagasaki, so they're sending me this, like, you need to go here, and it's just getting me excited, right?
And that's incredible. To Soren's point, so much is about collaboration. So TUJ entered into a special collaborative agreement with Nagasaki Ken, and so Governor Oishi is hosting us as part of that. It involves internships, opportunities for students. We will have students from Nagasaki, high school students actually on our campus here in Kyoto during the summer to have an American experience for high school students, training English teachers from Nagasaki to do that as well. And so really kind of this collaborative impact. Recently, about 3 weeks ago, I was part of a press conference and signing ceremony with Kyoto Fu and Kyoto Shi and Governor Nishiwaki and Mayor Matsui. Really, truly, as we look to collaborate, as we look to make an impact, it's all about students, but we're opening those doors. And when we talk about collaboration agreements, here in Kyoto, we have Ryukoku University. They're right around the corner from TUJ, and we have reached out and started to collaborate with that university on a whole host of levels. And in your special role as our first ever undergraduate fellow, I know that you have started to build that bridge between the American University, Temple, and Japanese University Ryukoku. Can you talk to me a little bit about what that is and what you've been doing?
Yeah, so I mean, they've been really excited to talk to us, to get to know us, and whether it's hosting their students on our campus or leading excursions over there to practice English and Japanese, we've had this kind of friendly relationship of going back and forth, discussing like, okay, how can we do clubs together? Can we do pickleball? Can we do soccer? That there's this real excitement of this friendship, right? That we're the new kid on the block, so to speak, but we already have, friends, we already have people who are really interested in collaborating with us. That it's fun to see that come together, whether it be, collaborating on World Expo or new initiatives or new clubs or events, right? Inviting each other. That having that friendship we talked about, right? That collaboration, you begin to see, right, how strong these human bonds are, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, as we talk about, those human bonds, I mean, it literally happens, student to student, right? Institution to institution. And so we're excited as part of Temple to immerse our students in these cross-cultural, cross-border relationships in such a simple way, but something that is just so impactful. So really, really excited about that. When we talk about kind of students, that student to student connection, I also know one of the things that you have been immersed in is helping other students succeed in the classroom, functioning as a tutor. Talk to me a little bit about your activities in that. Seems like you're really busy, by the way.
I'm delightfully busy. But, tutoring is really fun to me. I tutor 3 subjects. I tutor elementary Japanese, I tutor academic writing, and success coaching, right? And it engages kind of different parts of what I love. Obviously, the academic writing. Writing is hard. Writing is difficult. I was tutored by my parents a lot on writing, so it's fun to be on the other side. Like, oh, this is what it's actually like to. Why can't you just write it this way? Well, because it's hard. You have to learn it. But really beginning to kind of see like, oh, writing can be fun. Teaching them the structures of it's not magic. There is a way to express yourself. It's finding your voice, and kind of see their eyes like light up. Like, oh my god, I like writing for the first time. And a similar way in kind of success coaching, right? A lot of students come to me and want to understand time management or stress management or how to really handle college life, which is a very legitimate question. And sharing my strategies, sharing my experience, letting them know really that they're not alone, that there are strategies. It's okay to have it be difficult, but there's ways you can go out and attack and get the most out of your education. And lastly is Japanese. Learning a different language is quite frankly, can be embarrassing at times, can be uncomfortable. But walking them through that, answering their questions, and sharing those strategies from a learner's perspective, right? Having learned the language myself, kind of giving those like, yeah, think about it this way. These pseudonyms that, only American or a foreigner might understand, but suddenly their eyes are like, oh, I get it now, right? That's the first time when you explain it like that, I understand, right? And it really continues this idea of service, which again comes from top down, wanting to help others. It's just so pervasive in the TUJ culture that continuing to do that, extend that, is really honestly a blessing at TUJ.
No, and it's wonderful points. I mean, part of the college experience is overcoming the challenge, right? Or just tackling that challenge. And whether it's learning a language, whether it's jumping into an American classroom, whether it's coming to a new country, that motto of no fear, right? You just need to go out and just do it and just get it done. One of the other things is not that you have a need for more roles, but you've also taken on the role of a resident assistant in our housing. So here in Kyoto, we've gone out for our students. We have single apartments that have washers, they have kitchens. You've got beds, they're fully furnished, to really make it convenient and easy for our students to come into. Talk to me a little bit about the housing here in Kyoto that TUJ offers to students.
Yeah. So, when I first came down, I walked into my room and was a little bit like, is this right? This is kind of too nice for a student. You have these, each student has their own kind of apartment style, fully furnished, great location, at least where I'm at, is right next to campus, 5-minute walk. You've got the beautiful views of the cherry blossoms, canal right there, supermarket right next to you. That you have these wonderful facilities, and you have this kind of nice little culture among each dorm, where everyone kind of knows each other. And you have it located throughout Kyoto, but they're all within 35 minutes of the actual university. That really you have this kind of going back and forth, commuting, and at least as the RA, kind of leading this small little community is really fun. And you kind of get to see other people's rooms, and you get to have, hang out responsibly, but it's really fun.
Cool. All right. 2 quick questions as we wrap up here. 1, your favorite food in Kyoto?
Shinko.
Your favorite place in Kyoto?
Kujo.
I love it. Your favorite course at TUJ?
Overall? Your course, international negotiations.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Just a little snippet through the eyes of Soren Dixon about the TUJ experience. We invite all to come to check out the magic of TUJ. And as we think about, Temple University, truly a remarkable institution, globally ranked, top-notch, people from all around the world. We're so excited. Go Temple, go Owls, go TUJ. Thank you, Soren.
Thank you.